What's up, guys? Welcome to the Daily Refinement Morning Mastermind Call. We do this Monday through Friday. And today's topic is going to be surprising reselling trends. And I think right now, at least from where I am at in California, there is an overflow of donations, there's an overflow of stock. A lot of people are moving. Maybe it's because I live in a state where a lot of people are leaving, but there's so much stuff to sell right now. There's so many opportunities. There's so many companies that are taking advantage of this transition. And I feel like 2023 is definitely going to be a year where a lot of things change and adjust. And I was just doing some research on thrift stores in the United States. There are 28,849 thrift stores in America. This information is from America's Research Group. So that ends up being on average 500 stores in every single state. That's wild. Where I live, there are 200 thrift stores within a 2-hour drive. So much excess. There are 50,000 storage units across America. So I think one of the biggest opportunities in 2023 is probably networking with storage unit buyers. I think storage unit buyers exist in every state, and you can order all of them online. You do need the space to process it, but it's massive. The storage unit industry is so big. People have so many things. So that being said, a lot more people are shopping online. Hold on one second, guys. A lot more people are shopping online. And it says here, statistically, people spend or save $150 a month shopping at thrift stores instead of regular retail. So does anybody here shop at thrift stores? Do you guys get any of your things from estate sales or thrift stores? Catherine, do you ever pick up anything for yourself when you're out there?
Always. I even did some Christmas shopping at thrift stores for
Interesting.
yeah, for like stocking stuffers and little vintage things that my sister would like or yeah, I shop at in fact, I can't remember the last time I went to a mall.
Yeah.
And when I did, I remember just being so shocked at the prices because I'm used to thrift store shopping.
So do you guys think that there are more thrift stores now or less thrift stores? There's a bunch of people in the chat this morning. There's actually more. So hard to say when there's no stuff to sell that when there's a new thrift store opening up like every few days in America. There's so many. Seth is saying that there's less in his area. I think, I guess it depends on if you're in an area like the population in the area, but I think right now there are more thrift stores and Larry in the chat is saying there are more buyers as well. And I agree with that. It's becoming a lot more cool to thrift, find things secondhand. And the secondhand market is expected to grow by 127% between now and 2026. So this information again is from America's Research Group. I think it's really cool that the industry that we're in is expected to double in the next 3 years. So we're not in an industry that's shrinking. We're not in the newspaper business. We're in the business of reselling things. People are buying and selling more pre-owned stuff. It's becoming more cool. Um when I first started reselling, I didn't know you could sell pre-owned items on eBay. I thought you could only sell new. Like I saw new sneakers. I saw when you go to ebay.com, there's nothing used on the front page. If you were to go to ebay.com right now, all you see is brand new items. So like I
I
didn't know you could sell used. Go ahead.
I also think it's become cooler to resell and more common because when I started a few years ago, people were talking in chats about being,
If you were to
what
go,
if somebody notices me looking up items on the phone and, what if they question that I'm a reseller and don't want to sell their thrift items to me? And that was kind of a thing. And now it's like
yeah,
so many people in the thrift store are resellers. It's not even a discussion anymore.
I know a couple. They are 26 and 25, and they want to get married, and they're gonna try to pay for their wedding, which is about 20K, with reselling profits. So this year, instead of going out on the weekend, they're going to resell on the weekend, and they're going to try to pay for their wedding without getting help from their parents. Like that's insane. That was not a, when I was in my mid 20s, I didn't think I can make an extra 20 grand just working on Saturday and Sunday. And with my girlfriend or boyfriend, that's like a really cool activity. And when you go out and resell and you're looking at estate sales and garage sales, you're learning so much history when you pick up the items. If you're looking things up, you're going to be finding out, wow, there's so many opportunities here. Um, I just think it's really interesting. And then the buy and sell markets, I think, are so volatile. So, like sneakers, as an example, if you guys have been reselling just in the last 5 years, the sneaker market has been really wild. It's been up like 500%. It's been down 200%. It's like constantly shifting. And it kind of is like the stock market. That was the original idea behind Stock X. Collectibles too. It's been super, super duper wild. For a minute there, it looked like every single video game was selling for double what it was worth for a long time. And they don't make more used video games. So it just gets more and more and more popular, but there's less and less stuff. So the average thrift store, this is interesting to me, in the United States, does $300,000 revenue. Okay, so a thrift store makes $25,000 a month gross. Now, the average item in a thrift store is probably $5. And that ends up being 164 items a day. 164 items is what a thrift store sells in a day. But think about how many thousands and thousands and thousands of items a thrift store has in it. Right? If you guys walk into a thrift store, they've got 10,000 things for sale. You can just a normal sized thrift store. They only are selling 164 things. That's like not very many compared to how big the store is. And one person can easily donate 164 items.
Can I interject here for a second? Because I saw the line out the Goodwill last night with 7 or 8 cars in it trying to donate, people trying to donate.
Yeah.
It's my local Goodwill. And I was like, wow, everybody must be from after Christmas.
Yes.
Either they get all these gifts and they're like, oh, I can't stand all this clutter and mess. Let me clear out the other stuff I have, because there
I
were
know.
7 cars. They were like, wait, I never see that much of a line.
Yep.
It's like January 1st, people are like, oh, get rid of all this stuff. And I think other things happen, like high level of returns. I don't know if anybody's experiencing, like, people are like, oh, I spent too much, I need to get stuff back or whatever. But there were a lot of people donating more than usual. So Chris has been right. People are either moving or getting rid of stuff.
And Autumn,
jam packed.
Autumn, do you ever get the urge to go up to those cards and say, I'll take your donations?
I'm really trying to figure something out, because I'll tell you right now, they had a couple Robert Grahams down there, brand new with tags, for $29.99 just on the rack. Yeah, they had 4 of them. Somebody donated all 4 of their Robert Graham, size large, brand new with tags, and they caught them all. They were all $19.99. I was like, damn, this thing is so packed full, and you're gonna still try to charge $20 per shirt, and you can't even like look on the rack. So yeah, I'm gonna try to figure out a rag house situation, or like I kept saying to everything there, see you at the bins, see you at the bins. So what can you do?
Autumn, yesterday I was telling my workers that the average person has 149 pieces of clothing. And they're like, oh, no way, I have way less than that. And I was like, girl, you, first of all, you work here. So you're constantly buying clothes here, right? And then you wear a different outfit every time I see you. You have hundreds of pieces of clothing. There's no
I counted.
way
I have 350 just in my closet. 350.
Yes, Autumn has 350 pieces in her clothing.
I have a walk-in closet, and
yeah,
it's 3 sides.
it's real. There's so much stuff. And that's
60 pairs of shoes. I counted 60 shoes, 63. Don't want to brag or anything.
You count 63 pairs, right?
Yeah, these are like dance codes and Keens and stuff I've thrifted all along the years and just
that's what I mean.
Kept, that are all size 9 or 8.5,
I count 2 socks as one item. That's a pair of socks, not
yeah,
2.
so a pair of shoes is one item. Yeah, I have about 63 pairs of shoes that I currently rotate as well, depending on the season, because I have all the sandals that everybody wants too, like Noah.
Did you pay full retail for them?
No, I thrifted all of them.
That's what I mean. So think about this for a second. Your closet is like a really small part of your house. The rest of it is full of other things. So I'm just kind of shocked right now because the thrift store market, the used market is exploding. It's not shrinking. It's way bigger every single year. We've been reselling. There's more people reselling, but there's way, 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 way more stuff. People are posting 20, 50, $100 profits every day. People find stuff all the time. It's just because every single year they make more and more and more things. Millions and millions and millions of things are made probably every day. After looking at when a company orders something, the minimum order quantity is often 5,000, 10,000, 50,000. And sometimes these items are 50 to $100 and they're just pumping out hundreds of thousands, millions of these items into the market. It's just, there's no reason right now to sell garbage. So I really want people doing this. Smaller store, more profit is the goal. It's the mission for this year. People in the chat are saying that 300,000 doesn't seem like a lot for a thrift store. And it doesn't to me because 164 items is probably around six of these, right? Six of these is 160 items. Maybe a couple pieces of furniture or bigger things. If you think about how big a thrift store is, 164 items. I've purchased more than 164 items before at a thrift store. And those times that I did, it was all from the same person. It's like somebody rolled up to the back of Goodwill, dropped off all their junk. They sorted it, put it into their store. And I went through the store and got the same stuff that person dropped off. You just need one person's donations to pay your bills for a month, which is shocking to me. So I'm just thinking right now, there's so many new opportunities. And I'm wondering if one of them is a thrift store. It's just yesterday when we were talking about how to get rid of things, if you're buying a storage unit, right, you're only going to sell 2% of it. If you're a thrift store, you own a thrift store, you're only selling 0.0001% of your stuff every day. Yes, you get it for free, but what's the cost of the 9,000 items in your store that don't sell? There's that rule that you never donate things back to this thrift store that you shop at, right? So you don't end up looking through the same things again. Andrea says Google and the rise of online shopping in general has transformed the way people shop. So I bought a new Mac Mini for one of my workstations, and I ordered it on Best Buy for pickup. So I'm like, okay, I need it today, and I don't want to wait in line or do anything. So I'm going to order online and save time. I did pick up in line, pick up at store. So they texted me, your order is ready. When I went there, they're like, we don't know where your order is. Like, okay. So then they had to call a whole bunch of people. It took half an hour to buy something online. I'm sorry, in person, even though I ordered it ahead of time and they said it was ready. But when you buy something on eBay or Amazon, it takes like 1 minute and then it comes to your doorstep. You don't want to buy things that require you need them right now because then you're paying a premium. But the time, basically at Best Buy, no offense to Best Buy, but like the 4 people that I encountered at Best Buy, I walked in, the security guy was on his phone. I walked up. So what is he protecting? He's not even looking at the store. Went over to the customer service area. Nobody knows how the system works. One person picked the Mac and put it somewhere and they couldn't find it. So somebody else had to go get it. It took like 5 people to do 1 minute of work. So this is, and it boggles my mind. Have you guys ever ordered something from a big store and it takes a long time to get to you? Which makes 0 sense. You order something from Dick's Sporting Goods or Walmart, the store, not Amazon or like the store. It can take 4 days to ship. I don't understand how that's possible when you're that. Like, shouldn't they be more organized? But it's just not like that. Amazon and eBay, especially now that a lot of eBay sellers are better, it's so much faster. And I ordered, this is so crazy. Checks for me, I use this company, I think called Checks, CHEQUES. It takes 9 weeks to get checks and they ship from the US. That's like they're not ordering them from China and having them shipped over for my measly 100 checks that I need. How can it take 9 weeks? That's so long. So I think right now everyone is learning that they want to shop online. Do you guys have do you guys in your area have Prime that's arrives in the same day? Amazon Prime. How long does it take for you guys to get packages where you live? Where I live, you can order something in the morning and they'll come in the afternoon. It's kind of insane. How can you go to the store when that exists? Yeah, for certain items, of course. But I'm always shocked when items do arrive quickly that I feel like are not like, how is that possible that arrives so quickly? And yes, oftentimes it's more, it takes longer than it says. So stuff and things in the chat is saying they love the hunt. You're in a good place. If you love the hunt, if you're trying to maximize fun, there's 500 thrift stores in every single state. You couldn't even go to all the thrift stores in America. 28,000, you would need 100 lifetimes just to go through the stuff. So people in the chat are saying they have same day or next morning, or they have Amazon overnight delivery, which is also a thing that's starting here. So Silver Bushman in the chat says they live next to the world's biggest Goodwill. I would say that I heard that Nike's let's see. I think a lot of the biggest outlets are like in Los Angeles or Orange County. I was trying to think of some huge stores. I know the Nike outlet by me in San Leandro sells an average of 20,000 pairs a day. That's insane. 20,000 pairs, they're open for, let's say, 12 hours. Let's see if this math adds up. 1,666 shoes an hour. Probably because there's like 6 or 7 registers and they're just going nonstop all day. Marcia said she ordered something on a flight and it was there a few hours later when she got there. So I had some books at Amazon, all the same SKU, and they sent them back to me because I didn't have enough SKUs to cover all their warehouses. They want delivery to be fast if possible. Jamie says that same day with Amazon for Whole Foods orders, you order it now and it arrives between 6 and 7 in the next morning. I recommend if you guys can this year to schedule grocery delivery. It's a huge time saver. Or at the very least, I think grocery pickup is a little bit more reliable because the local grocery store is not as unorganized as a big conglomerate like Best Buy or Dick's Sporting Goods or Guitar Center. Those places take forever to do anything. So average thrift store sells 160 items a day for about $5. That's kind of blowing my mind because that means that if you're going into a regular thrift store and you are a regular buyer, they will recognize you. 166 items is not that many. If you buy 10 items at the thrift store, you're like number 5 customer of the day. Now maybe even number 1 in some areas. The people are really just going. Debbie says she hasn't been to a grocery store since COVID. Have you been doing delivery? How do you get your groceries?
Yes,
How is that?
I love it. In the beginning, I hate grocery shopping. In the beginning, I had a few problems with not getting an item or getting the wrong item, but they've streamlined it now. Used to, they had to call you or text you if they were out of something, and then you had to go look for a substitute or something. But now they got it set up to where you pick in advance what you want if they're out of it. So I haven't had that problem in a long time.
Mm.
And they have which one is it? One of the delivery services has where you pay $9.95 a month and get free delivery fees. So it's worth it. And I figured up I saved like almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
by not going to the grocery store, which is a big help.
Andrea says she only shops for produce and meat because she doesn't trust pickers for that. I agree.
Well, I haven't really had that. Of course, I don't buy a lot of meat. I'm not a big meat eater, but I've only got one bad piece of produce. Most time it's fairly decent. A lot of times it depends on if it's a college kid or a woman that actually shops in the same, like Publix brand.
For us, it's we buy too many groceries to make it work because they often want like substitutions and, oh, we're out of this. What would you rather have? And then I'm stuck on my phone trying to figure it out. I just know where everything is in my grocery store. I have a list. I make a quick circuit and I'm in and out. And so for me, it's better to do it that way than to try to do it order, because I purchase so much that it just bogs it down to try to do it like online or whatever.
That's so true. Yeah, it takes a long time to check out. So do you guys want to go over a few tips today on how to get the best use out of a thrift store? Because I think that
Definitely.
I want to start with like try to get there when they open, because the part that I hate the most about the thrift store is just waiting in line. The earlier you can go, less time you're spending in the store, way better. You need to have a route of where you go into the store. That's going to be a huge time saver. And the reason why Marcia is saying that it's much more expensive to do online grocery ordering than going to get it yourself, but you don't impulse shop, right? This is important. It's the same thing with a thrift store. If you have a list of the things that you sell, you don't impulse shop. That's huge. That's why people who buy online are typically better at sourcing than people that go out in person, because online, you're less likely to buy junk because you can just open a new page and look for something else. But the thrift store, you're literally looking at something profitable that you don't know anything about, and you're just picking it up. The Flipping Sports guy says that they do same day ordering from Walmart. The thrift store is not going to have online pickup yet. You have to observe the condition. That's why produce and meat people observe in person. Same thing with reselling. You got to observe the condition before you buy it. So Michael in the chat is asking about which cross-listing service to use. The three that people talk about the most, at least that I hear from, are Flip, Vendoo, List Perfectly. All of them are fine. I think Vendoo and List Perfectly have more features than Flip, because Flip is a mostly free tool, so they don't have as many resources to make that tool more powerful. They're listing 20 a day and they're looking into cross listing. I would always recommend, instead of cross listing 20 items a day, just list 21 or 22 items. The extra 2 items are guaranteed to make you more money, versus cross listing, you're just making the same money. So it depends on your bankroll, but over time, managing more platforms takes a long time, in my opinion. You have to have 3 different logins, to do 3 more forms for your taxes, 3 more things to keep track of. One platform, be good at it. I think you can definitely do it. I think Vendoo and List Perfectly are similar in price, but I would agree Vendoo may be a little bit more user friendly. I would think List Perfectly has a little bit more features from what I've experienced using both of them before. Silver Bushman is starting a business jewelry shop and looking for outlets other than eBay's 13% fees. I actually think eBay's fees are more like 20%. People are using promoted listings fees. There's the store subscription. I would not use 13% as the starting point for fees on eBay, because it's not really that. On Whatnot, the fees are like 11%, but I use 15%, and I've been tracking what percentage of my fees the fees are, and they're 15%, even though they advertise 11. If you track your eBay fees, I bet most people here are over 20%. It's a huge chunk of your cash. Got to pay attention to selling stuff for hire. Melanie is wearing arm weights when she thrifts. What are you guys at for your step goals a day? Mine's like around 13,000 a day steps. So today, Stasia stopped cross-listing the Posh, and she's seeing some big improvements to eBay sales. Just wherever you focus your attention, you should get a pretty big increase in sales. Stephanie, do I know you? I don't know if I've seen you on the chat before. What are you working on? Where are you in your reselling journey?
We haven't met yet, and I'm working mostly on numbers right now in my store for January.
What do you track?
I track total sales and the expenses and profit after tax, but
Okay.
I'm working more on systems, and I'm really appreciating the content of daily refinement for that. So
Mhm.
just a great life philosophy.
Thank you. Can I ask, or I mean, do you track time worked?
Oh yeah, it's way too much. I'm really slow,
That's all
but
right.
yeah, it's still, I do calculate my hourly rate in terms of like if I were my own worker, and it's comparable to what I used to do in my previous career. So
Wow.
I can't complain too hard because it gives me time to be with my family.
Do you think that you could be faster?
Oh yeah, I'm getting faster, but it's just a slow process.
No, the reason I'm asking is if you're already making a similar amount that you were that your other occupation, but you consider yourself slow, that means you still have a way to get a raise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So why are you tracking your numbers? Usually people don't do that. Where did you learn that? Or why are you doing it in a spreadsheet? How do you keep track?
I have a notebook and I mostly just do sample. Like I don't track every day, but I
Yeah.
try to do it once a week just to have a kind of like a slice of life, I guess. And I mostly track it just to be sure that it's fair to everybody. If I could be helping my family in another way,
Interesting.
yeah.
So if it's, you mean fair for you to be reselling instead of hanging out with them?
Or fair. Well, I love it. Like I love reselling, but
Hmm.
if it's not as economically viable as my other job, then I don't think it's really fair to my family. I guess you know what I mean? Like I want to pull my weight. Like I love it. It's so much fun. I think most people here love it too. Um, but yeah, so mostly I'm tracking just to make sure that I'm contributing.
Great. Thank you for sharing. So the first Thursday of every month, I want to work on accounting with everybody. So um, the first Thursday of every month, I want to do all of the expenses for the previous month. It'll take some time to get used to this habit, but on Thursdays, the most important thing I want everyone to do, everyone listening to YouTube land and here, is to screenshot your bank account every Thursday. We're doing this. So is your bank account actually going up? And if not, maybe you need to unsubscribe to my channel because it's not working. I definitely want you to think about making sure your bank account goes up. And I like Patrice's mentioning that is brilliant advice about trying to be fair to your family. I 100% think about that. If I'm going to be working, I want to make it count. Otherwise, I should be with my family, spending time with them because you don't get that time back. You don't get the time back to work and you don't get the time back to spend with your family, which is so interesting. So I try to be as present as possible because um, you got to ask yourself, is this worth it? Let me ask Keith that question this morning. Keith, do you feel like your reselling business is worth it? That's a tough question this early, but
Sorry, I was trying to find my unmute button.
all good.
No, it's not worth it, but I'm having a great time. I'm just a hobby seller, and
What would,
I'm
what would be worth it for you?
um, I guess it is kind of worth it because I enjoy doing it. I drive truck full time, but it's kind of part time. I'm older, so I'm only taking the good stuff now, leaving the bad stuff for the young guys.
I
And
got you. What
so
is the
kind
good stuff what's the good stuff as a driver?
I mainly just haul jet fuel. and it pays a higher rate than some of the other stuff like gas or ethanol, stuff like that. And I'm an owner operator, so I get paid per load. So I want to get I just want to haul the expensive stuff right now. I'm older, you know, man, we're slowing down a little bit.
Why does jet fuel pay more? Is it more dangerous? What is the
Technically, no, it's really not. It just um, because it's more specialized and you have to have a dedicated tank to that. You can't just haul anything in that tanker. It has to be jet fuel only. So you can't cross load and stuff like that. So when you get empty somewhere, you have to come back empty with the same trailer and back to the reloading spot. So because they have to keep dedicated tanks, it pays a premium. Where if you're hauling gas or diesel or ethanol or some of the other products, you can switch load that out. You can unload somewhere and then go 5 miles somewhere else and reload something on top of it.
that makes sense?
Anyway,
So
it's just
so Keith, I was thinking about what you just said with like I feel like an older, mature reseller in a way because I'm only picking the easy stuff now. Right? As I've been doing this longer, the take a piece of furniture home and restore it, that's for the younger guys. I'm
well,
not doing that.
I need to get to that position because I really like to do architectural salvage type stuff, but
Got you.
I really started reducing the size of what I'm calling in my wheelhouse. But I'm an everything seller, but about love old house parts, light fixtures, hardware, um, plumbing fixtures, just old house stuff. I don't know why I'm drawn to that, but I mean I'll pick up anything I can make a dollar on if it's kind of easy. But my problem is I'll spend the same amount of time on a $10 item that I do $100 item or a $200 item. It's going to take me exactly the same amount of time because I'm going to go down a rabbit hole and research every item and look at everybody else and um, maximize what I think it's worth, and then 4 weeks later take a low ball offer and wasted all my time.
How do you make it more worth it?
By being way more selective on what
I
I would
see.
buy. I don't need as much as what I buy. I've got a couple small storage units that are a mix of personal things, and I started sneaking eBay stuff in, and then I started sneaking more eBay stuff in, and now they're probably more eBay stuff. I need to get rid of the stuff I've gotten.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Debbie, good morning.
Good morning. For a beginner, and I consider myself a beginner now because I wiped everything out of my store and started over. And I'm only selling on Poshmark now. But wouldn't your bank account fluctuate? Like mine goes up for a while, but then when I buy something, it's going to go down.
Yep.
So on a weekly, I usually figure whether I'm progressing or not by the month by taking sales minus expenses.
Yep. The ideal way to do it is actually year over year, but the reason why I want to do it every Thursday is so you can think about why it went down this week. Did you make more purchases? Did you buy supplies? Did you buy equipment? And that way, if you
Okay.
track every Thursday, then you have a really good idea of why it's going up and down. And it'll encourage you to do. So this year is the year of, I want to encourage people to do the right behavior. So your bank account goes up that week, right? You'll think, okay, it went up this week, even though I went thrifting 5 times. So that's the idea. You want your bank account to go up, even if you're buying. So right now, I was just talking to one of my suppliers, and they are asking me, how much can you afford to grow with only profits? It was a really good question. They were like, I want to supply you more goods, but I don't want you using your own money. You can have to use house money, use the reselling business's money to buy more, not your own bank account. So in theory, you sell 20 items and make $100 profit that week. You spend $80 on new goods, your bank account should still go up $20 in theory. So that's what I'm looking for here. Even a slow increase will reward the behaviors that helped it, and you can stop naturally doing the behaviors that make your bank account smaller.
Yeah, and I recommend, because that's how I got in this, was using my own money to buy stock instead of only spending my profits.
Yep. That's what the key to when you're reselling, the key is being able to buy more stuff and have your bank account go up. It's really hard, but it just means you have to buy great items, and they have to sell fast enough that they don't just sit in your inventory. Larry says he prefers weekly snapshots to have more immediate feedback to the previous week's activities. 100%. So I like the screenshot a lot because you can go back and review your 4 snapshots of the month and take a look. And if the more results you want, the more often you would check. Honestly, because you like if you are trying to lose weight and you tracked once a month, that would be good. If you tracked once a week, it'd be better. And if every day you tracked what you ate, that would obviously be the best. Right? If at the end of every day, Stephanie did a little sit down and said, okay, what did I spend today? What came in? She would just start to train herself what kind of expenses there are. And you just start reducing things that are unnecessary. And people, I wonder like if part of reselling requires you to sell your personal stuff just so you can get in the habit of reducing, because it's really easy to accumulate more stuff as you get older. It's even hard to just keep the same number of things. But I remember one of my friends telling me that he had 3 paychecks go by without spending any money. And I was like, how is that possible? And he's like, well, he figured out a way to, this is a long time ago, but he was just getting started in life. He didn't want to pay rent. So he figured out how to exchange work for the person that he was living with in exchange for free rent. And all the things he did, he figured out how to essentially live for free. So his bank account went up by his paycheck 3 times in a row. I couldn't believe that. I'm like, that's 6 weeks without any expenses. I mean, I don't know, most people here, especially with families, feels like there's bills every day, but watching your bank account go up is addicting. Nadine caught the reselling bug as she was trying to get rid of personal stuff. That's a great way to get started. Stuff and Things says that fees are getting bad. I think that fees are going to continue to go up, but that's okay because there's more stuff to resell and it's never going to go back down. Can you imagine an eBay update with eBay listing fees going down? What do you guys think would happen? If eBay fees went down, what would people do? Let's say eBay made fees 5% flat. No insertion fee, no more store fee. What do you guys think would happen? More listings? Go ahead, Debbie.
So let's say more people would start reselling.
You think so?
Yeah, because a lot of the newbie complaints is the fees are so high. They
Interesting.
feel like they're wasting their time.
Some previous resellers would start reselling again because they stopped because they believe this myth, lie, whatever, that eBay is too expensive to resell on. So suddenly all of those would like wake up and hop back on the platform.
So how come people sell on Poshmark? The fees are 20%. Does that prevent people from selling on Poshmark because the fees are too high? I guess so. I guess some people don't sell on Poshmark because the fees are 20%.
Yeah, but when I was cross-listing between the two,
Yeah.
I made more money per item on Poshmark because, like you said earlier, if you take into account your promotions, not everything is the same fee that you sell. You know, different categories, they charge more or less.
Yeah.
When you take into account all the fees that eBay charges, I don't I think you're, like you said, I think most people are paying more than 20%. They just don't realize it because they see that 13% and they don't account for the others.
Yeah, that's fair. Felicia says some people think Poshmark is easier and more upscale, and they think eBay is junk. I actually think it gets easier if the fees go higher because, like, you have to know what you're doing. What about if eBay fees were 50%? I think really only a few sellers would survive. If eBay fees were 50%, you'd have, and they are 50% for some people who do very, very high promoted listings, like 30%, 40% promoted listings. You're in that really high situation, but 50% eBay fees, man, I think eBay would just be the creme de la creme. I don't think people would list garbage anymore.
Do you think it would weed out the not so serious people?
I think if it was 50%, only pretty much only volume sellers would survive, or people who sell really expensive, nice stuff. So I think it would make eBay way I don't know. I kind of think it would be, I still think it would be really popular, but it just the quality of the customer experience would be different because there'd be way less items on eBay and they'd all be way better. I don't know. I actually think that experience is pretty good. Like if you guys have been to, you guys should all go to New York City one day and walk down the streets to the boutiques. They only have a few items in there. There's only like 500 items in the whole store. Versus you walk into a thrift store and there's 50,000 items for sale. So maybe just the nature of eBay is that junk feel. Because if you guys, when you guys think of the eBay logo, do you think of the one that's 4 colors, or do you think of the one that's all one color? 4 colors or one color? When you think of the
Four
eBay,
colors. 4 colors.
One
does anybody
color.
here think of eBay and think of the one color? Do you guys even know that eBay spent millions of dollars trying to rebrand?
I didn't even know they had a one color. I always think of it in the 4 colors. What color is it?
It'll depend based on the branding of the site, but let me see. Let me pull it up.
Purple.
So on their website, it looks like they do have the 4 color one, but maybe about 4 years ago, eBay tried to change the logo, but I guess nobody noticed. They tried to change the one color because they were trying to be more upscale. The 4 color one is kind of like circus, flea market, garage sale, bargain basement color, right? It's not, does the 4 color logo really signify luxury to you or high end? It doesn't to me. And it was based on Google because it was in the same era.
My question is, why did Walmart change their logo? Kind of similar conversation.
They're trying to be more upscale.
Trying to be a Target.
Yeah, Target did a really good job. Even like Target and Marshalls. Those 2 stores did a really good job branding themselves as better than everybody else, but there's the same junk inside, really.
Yeah, true.
Target, the lighting inside of Target versus the lighting inside of Walmart is totally different. Or Costco versus Sam's Club. Just the interior lighting is very different. So Stuff and Things says she loves what Crazy Lamp Lady has done. She created her own platform. She didn't create her own platform. She uses the platform District. And it is interesting because I was thinking about doing that, but I don't know if I want people doing that instead of selling on eBay. But it is very interesting because you can change the fees. I don't know. I haven't looked at District for a while, but we can, if you guys feel like that's of value, if you want to sell things to each other, we can create that marketplace. People can sell things to each other. Yeah. David Meyer says that the eBay fees are justified. How else would you market that item? I agree. I think Facebook Marketplace, though, is pretty mind-blowing and they don't have any fees.
Facebook, I find like Facebook Marketplace, and I know there's people that have success on it, but I find it so tricky to use. It's so like the item is marked sold, but it still comes up in a search. People just messaging you all day, is it still available? And then never never answering. You have to meet up. You have to, I mean, I would much prefer to spend time on eBay and pay the fees for it.
Then use Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, 100%.
Me too.
Yeah,
100%.
Facebook Marketplace is such a headache. It's like every other listing is this still available? Is this still available? Is this still available? And everybody I've noticed just keeps posting like, if it's up, it's available. Like people are already mad before customers even get to their page.
Do
Just because,
you have you ever bought something on Facebook Marketplace?
no, I have sold a few things though.
That's a
Like,
huge mistake, not buying something on Facebook Marketplace.
yeah, I've heard it's like really good for sourcing. I'm having to
No,
like,
what I mean is you don't even know that's the only default question to ask. When you try to buy something on Facebook Marketplace, it says make sure it's available by clicking this button, and it says, "Is this still available?" You're just not even. That's how people buy stuff. So it's so weird to me when people say on Facebook Marketplace, "Why do people keep asking that?" Because it's the default when you are buying
right,
something on Facebook Marketplace. And if the person says yes, it's still available, that starts the conversation on setting up a transaction. It's different than eBay or Amazon where there is no "is this still available" button. It's available. You can just click to buy it now or make an offer, right? So
right, yeah,
on Facebook Marketplace, I would guess that more than half of the time it's not available. People posted it and they just forgot about it. So it is very, very interesting. But whatever platform that you guys are on, I recommend buying some stuff this year so you can really understand the process. Like, how do you guys actually shop for stuff on eBay? When I started buying stuff on Poshmark, it completely transformed my Poshmark business because I was like, I only want to wear the same pair of pants the same time, and I just offered on everyone's pants that had the one I was looking for, the same amount to get an idea. And like people wrote me long essays like, "You jerk! Why do you offer me $35 for this when it's $108 retail? Do you even know how hard it is to go thrifting?" And I'm like, uh, two other people already accepted $35 for this. It's a used pair of pants. But they're like, "Do you know that the Goodwill in my area charges up for this brand?" And I'm like, probably. It's like, or if I made an offer, people were like, "Oh, I'm so sick of people offering me." They would like message me that back. But it's just how people shop. Even if the item is already a good deal, a lot of people ask for more.
Oh, Chris, since I mean, this is probably not news to anyone, but I did my first markdown sale on Friday, and I was talking about this in the sold call. Like I marked down everything over 91 days in my store, and I have a range of stuff from like 91 days to like 450 days. And it was like it was something like 1,200 items or 1,300 items of my 1,900 item store. With so much old inventory. But
Yeah.
I marked it all down 30%, and all some of it, a very small amount of it sold outright. All it did was open up the door to people offering me even less on the 30%. And now this is stuff that I'm dying to get rid of and I was just going to donate. So I've been taking every offer, but it's like the shirt was 17, then 30% off that. Then they're offering me like $8. And I'm like, done. You know what? Done. Let's just keep this moving because I didn't even pay $8 for it. But I found with the markdown sale, like it's not people just buying it straight off the markdown still. They're still hitting my best offer and taking like another like 10 to 70% off. And it's fine because I really do want to get rid of this stuff.
They're still hitting you for a better deal no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I'm not even mad. I mean, I'm not even mad at it because like I said, I really just want to get rid of this stuff. And I kind of see um it took me a while. I still haven't wrapped my head fully around it to like understand like Tech's whole method of how his store operates. Like I get the basics of it, but like the nitty-gritty of how it actually works. But when I've been getting these offers in daily and the amount of stuff I just have, the churn I have of like $9 shirt, $9 shirt, $11 sweatshirt, $11 whatever. And then, one $120 coat sells full price in there. And then another like $50 sweatshirt sells full price. And then it's $8 shirt, $8 shirt, $11 sneakers, whatever. I'm like, man, times that by 250. Yeah, now I get it. Now I get it. Now I get how that works. I get how that model works. Now I'm not on that model. I'm trying to keep a small store, but for the liquidation portion of it, it's great. Like I'm not upset that I'm taking, and in some cases, like 50% off of what, of some items that's, non-clothes items, things like that. I'm not mad at it because I'm still making money on it. I'm just not making as much. But it's like, again, that like I'd rather have the 50 real dollars than like 100 imaginary dollars, sitting in my store.
Matt, I'm now thinking, after what you just said, the biggest opportunity in reselling is when people overprice items because they end up with a huge problem later,
Yep.
right? If you have a garage sale and everything is eBay pricing, at the end of the day, you have a space problem again. I wonder if the people who ask eBay prices and they have the eBay price stapled to every single item, I wonder if they end up donating everything because nobody buys anything.
Or taking even less than what they would have gotten on the first,
With just a normal offer, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's why I keep talking about that. Like, how I want to get my stuff cheap enough that I can beat everyone's prices because I don't want to have like sweaters and jackets and stuff up overpriced and then have to cut it by almost 50% 9 months later or
Yeah.
6 months later, whatever it is. I'd rather get it right up front and just get a little bit less than everyone else, but be the first sale than go through the exercise of what I'm doing now, where I'm like, no, I'm going to hold on to this. I'm not going to take a $15 offer on a $26 thing, but then, maybe I end up only selling it for 12 and it sits for, X amount of months. That's what's occurring to me now.
So I'm going to give you guys an example, and you guys tell me what you think on this thing. I'm looking for one warehouse space that has everything, and I'm trying to find something under $1 a square foot, right? So I basically used the search filter, and I put under $1 a square foot. Let me know what's available, right? And yesterday I went to look at a place that was listed at $1.05 a square foot, and he told me, the broker said, no one has called him since November. He put up the ad the first week of November. It's now the first week of January. I'm the first person to look at it since November. And I'm like, if you price this at 99 cents instead of $1.05, I bet 1 million people would contact you. But it's 5 cents too much. And so people who are search filtering never see it. I've never seen this listing. Someone just recommended I go look at it, and I've never seen it. And it's like so nice, but like it's just 5 cents too much. So it never popped up on the recommended things to go look at. And it's just like how many people here are priced a little bit too high and they just never get any offers. You could just be $5 off, 5 cents off.
And the thing I realized about that, sorry to keep talking, but I had all these epiphanies in the last week of doing this markdown sale and a bunch of other stuff. The thing that I'm betting on is myself, because especially, I mean, the old stuff, forget it. Like I've gotten so much better. So I'd rather, even if I break even on it, I'd rather just have that money back. And I'm still not breaking even on it. I'm still making $3, $4, $5, $10, profit on it. So it's okay. Right. But I am betting on myself by saying, all right, I bought this. I wanted it 26. Someone offered me 19. I'm going to take that because in the time that I bought it, listed it, waited for the sale, even if it's a week, I've gotten a week's better at finding the next item. Right. So like I'm gonna take that $19 even, and maybe I got it for $4, and I'm gonna take that like $15 profit and find the next better thing with it that maybe I'm going to get a full 26 on instead of having to take like a cheap thing. So I view it as like I'm studying, I'm listening to the calls, I'm doing all this stuff. I know every day I get a little bit better at this. So if I break even on something, I'm just going to take that money and put it towards like an investment, like the investment that I've made myself to find like the next better thing and not, buy something again that's only going to net me X amount.
That's right. Oh, also on the real estate deal I was talking about, I offered 83 cents. And I think they're gonna accept. But it's like, what if they just offered 99 cents from the beginning? They probably would have gotten it. Or at least they would have gotten their offer 2 months earlier. I think a lot of people just won't make an offer. That's my point. They'll just move on to the next one. And maybe as a buyer, I should increase my that's like an old real estate trick. You price it really low to create a bidding war.
Oh, dude, sorry. I keep chiming in, but to yesterday's point with the estate sales, uh, there are guys that go to these estate sales that have like been doing this for a long time. They're like older guys, older than me at least. They're not, I wouldn't call them old, but they're older than me, and they don't care. They have no F's to give. So they will literally build like a ridiculous pile of stuff that has like very high price tags on it and
Yeah.
just be like, this is what I'm giving you for this. And I would never do that because I'm trying to maintain relationships, whatever. But
Yeah.
the amount of times I'm shocked to see it work because they're just like, I'm just gonna do it. And if you say no, then it's a no, and I'm gonna walk out of here. And they have no like, I don't want to say it's like no shame. It's not shame. It's not, I don't know what it, they just like, they have the like irrational confidence to just be like, here's what I'm willing to offer you. If you don't take it, don't care. I'm walking out. I'll go somewhere else. I'll come back next week and we'll try it again. Nothing personal. And the amount of times I've seen that work, I'm like, yeah, you just gotta like not take anything personally if you want to work this.
So Matt, there's a guy in the group named Scott, and he only resells Patagonia. So he goes on to Poshmark and he'll offer $20 on a $100 jacket. And sometimes they accept, right? Other times they counter. So what he'll do is he'll say, okay, I'll give you $20 for a $100 jacket. And they're like, oh no, it's way too low. Sometimes the conversation will start and they'll have 10 jackets in their store. And he'll be like, how about $100 for all 10? And they'll be like, okay. So he'll lowball them first. Sometimes that works. And then sometimes the same lowball offer, but for more items works because that person wants $100. So when you go to a garage sale and you put all their high-end items into a pile and you say, how about $200? And even though there's 5 items in the thing that say whatever on them, they see that money and they want it, even though it's like sometimes even a worse deal.
Yeah, no, and like, look, I know how to negotiate and I know how to do this stuff, but there's even like, I have a point where I'm like, nah, that's like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not trying to take advantage. I'm not trying to, like, I have this like weird line in my head that I'm not willing to cross, and it's something that I made up. It's just my comfort zone. But I've seen guys who like don't have that comfort zone, and they're just like, yeah, here's the offer, like take it or leave it, no hard feelings. And I'm like, wow. Like, and I don't know that I want to operate. I'm not saying like, oh, I know I want to operate that. I'm just saying what, to your point of like, you don't know until you make the offer, like what someone's actually willing to accept. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Jacob says he's trying to have that blind confidence. It's not blind confidence. It is calculated. Debbie?
On the, Matt reminded me I had a question. On the sold method, the lessons on, the only thing that comes up is the overview.
Okay. I'll take a look at that right now.
Okay.